to thank the players.
And I set out to create something.
So, game of the year.
Jeff Keighley.
What's that? That was your dream telling you to make a video about the Indie Game Awards. Hi. Who are you? Am I still dreaming? Is that what you look like me? What the f is wrong with you? Are you trying to mess up the bit? Are you trying to break the illusion? Why are you trying to break the illusion? You think Jeff runs the Game Awards by breaking illusions? Do you think he runs the Game Awards by asking whose hands up those damn Muppets every 5 seconds? No. No, do you think he doesn't want to ask who's making those jokes about him and his best friend Hideo Kojima? Huh? Huh? So then why are you trying to mess up the bit right now? Do you want to mess up the bit? No, right? No, right? So then what are you going to do? What are you going to make a video about? Game Awards show. Talk about the Indie Game Awards. That's what I thought. The Indie Game Awards. When one hears Game Awards show, it's almost impossible to not think of
Jeff Keighley.
and the increasingly bigger extravaganza he throws in December. It has become the night of gaming, where not only the biggest hits that year get recognized for their success, but also viewers get served an absolute smorgasbord of trailers for games coming out in days, and games coming out in months, and games coming out in years. The show just had its 10th anniversary event, and it showed. It was a run-on advertisement of game trailers, musical performances, Muppet gags,
Jeff Keighley.
and celebrity appearances, and sometimes awards. By all accounts, it was the biggest one of its kind yet. Despite this, it's not the Game Awards show that stuck in my head over the holiday break. For me, and I'm guessing for those of you who would actually click on this kind of video and also have your life deeply intertwined with video games, it's not just been 10 years for the Game Awards. It's been 10 years of watching the Game Awards, meaning that it's also been 10 years of watching the same thing that often has the same issues. Now, I do think this year is one of the best in a while. That performance of the arcane music was simply spectacular. There at least was some, if not perfect, actual acknowledgement of the extreme turmoil the industry has been experiencing in the past few years. But the flaws of the show's basic structure are still present, if not scaled up due to the sheer amount of funding being poured into it now. And it's hard to not acknowledge the fact that since so much of the awards show is just purely trailers, a lot of the takeaways can be gotten just from viewing it after the fact. So when I started seeing news of the debut indie award games on Blue Sky earlier this year, I actually put it down on my calendar and locked in day of to see how different it would be. And what I got is a list of reasons to tune in again next year. I'm not going to be going through every award and nominee of the showcase, nor am I going to be doing a deep dive of how
Jeff Keighley.
that sometimes disrupted by awards got to where it is, but rather summarize how the Indie Game Awards structure and focus created a fundamentally different experience that I think people who love games would enjoy in addition to the Game Awards. Let's start with the most crucial difference that will be a make or break element for some of you. The Indie Game Awards featured 0 trailers.
IGAs are solely an awards-only ceremony recognizing the achievements of the developers and their games throughout the past year. There are no new game announcements tonight.
From start to finish, not a sequel was whispered, nor a new franchise heard. While this may be surprising to hear at first, it became quickly apparent that this was one of the show's biggest strengths. For starters, with no trailers to rush off to since someone paid oogles of money to share them, each award winner went as long or as short as they wanted. In fact, winners got a lot of autonomy in the way they accepted their awards altogether. Whether they want to hang out with other cute cats as they thank every person in their life who helped them climb the grueling mountain that is making a good video game, or become one of their characters in their game in a very literal sense.
I am the Crypt Master, and I have decided to grace this ceremony with my presence and collect my award in person. After all, it is my game, and I did single-handedly make it in the face of great adversity.
Or just hop on the phone and using every filter imaginable, each winner's personality came out in how they used their time. It made each individual stand out even more than usual. The Game Awards isn't bad for not doing this, it just simply can't. It comes in direct contradiction of its goal of becoming like every other award show that it wants to be recognized as. This also isn't to say that winners' personalities are missing in this traditional structure. It still peeks out a bit in their award speeches or attire that evening, but overall the presentation is largely the same. They have to fit a lot of themselves, in a moment that's recognizing their hard work, into a strictly regulated amount of time. So the Indie Awards felt like a breath of fresh air in comparison because it actually let the winners breathe. I find this approach especially interesting since it creates a way to keep viewers engaged if they don't necessarily care about awards or have issues with nomination criteria. There's a buzzing curiosity that formed for me personally once I realized these developers had more freedom to just be themselves. Got me curious as to what crazy thing or even not so crazy thing would happen next. Not every award acceptance did something out of the box, but the agency highlighted each developer more strikingly. While it never has the spectacle or huge star power of the regular Game Awards, the ability to do something non-traditional brings an intimate charm that centers the nominees, highlighting them as distinct humans who put in a lot of work to share their art. It's worth noting that the format of the show allows this. By virtue of being online and not on a single stage, the world effectively becomes a nominee's oyster. The Indie Game Awards' looser restrictions creates a more human experience that shows off how different each developer is. Another strong point is the show was clear about how the nomination criteria worked really early on. I appreciate that it was quickly laid out in the beginning and didn't take more than a few minutes. Moreover, the criteria itself ensures you see as many games as possible. I think this is especially great for someone who was still on the fence about the absence of trailers for new games. Because while, yes, it's nice to know what's coming out in the future, holy is there a lot of good games out right now? And that's frankly the best part. Even if you're someone super tapped into the space, you're likely to catch something you hadn't seen before that looks interesting, or a bit more of something seen in passing on one of your usual storefront treasure hunts. There's more games coming out than ever before. So a smaller show like this that is directing itself towards showing off as many games as possible will likely share something new with you. And by a game's mere presence in the award show, you know you can get it right away. Probably buy and download the damn thing before the show is even over. There's a literal bite-sized category, by the way, for short games that had big impacts. Now, even with all the nice things that I've laid out before, this still might sound boring to a lot of you compared to the regular Game Awards, simply because it demands your attention in a different way. To put it bluntly, the Game Awards can only exist at its scale because of ads and therefore functions like one. It is relentless in its pursuit of promising you the next game you'll be spending hours upon hours upon hours of looking into each nook and cranny of, and is manufactured in such a way so that each announcement has the potential to be bigger than the last one, with the final few almost always revealing the game the biggest publishers want to become the most anticipated for. I'd be lying if I did not buy into the hype every now and then myself. Not even just from when I'm younger, but even still now. Every now and then it actually has a small payoff, and enjoying the moment with other people online or in real life can be really nice. I mean, there was genuine joy on so many people's face when that Okami sequel got announced. The people behind the Yakuza franchise revealed a game that the minute I saw, I said, I'm there. I'm there. I'm there. Moments like these can be admittedly fun, but moments pass, and the time between the death of that moment and the one where you have a game in your hand is often long. The hype dies, and in my case, you're left with an uneasy feeling and burgeoning question. What does it say about an award show that spent more time showing me a cinematic for a game I won't be able to play for years to come than time letting the workers of the games I love this year say, thanks for playing my game? The Indie Game Awards never left me feeling uneasy because it was clear about what it was and who it was for. I'm not saying it's perfect, I'm saying it's the most riveting thing on earth, but what it's got going for it is pretty cool. It's the show that allowed developers to talk at length about the messages behind their games. It's the show that gave space for a developer to grieve and celebrate a fellow worker who passed in 2024. It's the show that not only didn't speed past the Accessibility Award, but also gave a presenter significant time to share a resource called AbleToPlay.com, where people with disabilities can look up games best suited for their specific needs. It's the show that managed to not even be an hour and a half. It's a show that actually felt rewarding. And it's now the show I'm most looking forward to seeing next year. I just need to get this out of my system, so thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments what you think of gaming award shows, the Game Awards, the Indie Game Awards, or award shows in general. If you enjoyed this, leave a like, and if you really liked it and want more gaming-related content of this nature around specific games or around industry events as a whole, consider subscribing, and leave a comment on something you might want me to check out. Thanks again, take care of yourself, take care of your loved ones, ciao.